So step 2 is create your finding and presentation documents and share with me. Okay. So let's go over this. So in a Word document, right, create a cover page with your selected topic, your name, and which AI tool you're using. You used. So in this case, I'm going to bring over Word, and I don't care what cover page you use. Hopefully, you know how to do a cover page, right? That's important to understand. By the way, if you don't know how to do something in Word, you can always just type like cover page, and it will actually give you some good help here. Right now, I happen to be using the Mac version, so it doesn't matter, right? It talks about insert pages. Okay, choose letter. Okay, so that's great. So always, and again, you could always chat might help you out too. Now, I'll come back to what this is, but this is your table of contents, but this is generated. And I'll show you what I mean by this, right? So the first thing you want to do, right? So this is generated. I'll show you how to create a break point for that. So what you want is your week 1 prompts and generated content. Okay, so that's in general what I want. So each week every week that I have you updating your content, right? Your prompts and your content, this is what you would do. So, and now what's important here is for the table of contents to work, you need to format these as a heading 1. And then here's the specific prompt and format that as a heading 2. Okay. And then in this case, what I ended up doing was I just copied and pasted the content from chat. Okay, so let's come over to chat and take a look. Right? Because there's 2 ways you could do this. One is there actually is a built-in copy, but I kind of liked the formatting a little bit, so I don't really care. Whichever way you want to do it, right, is to then copy that. Now, why am I having you copy it? More to help you keep organized about what this is, even though you have this interface here, and for me to see the progression of where you're going in your prompt writing and just some other things that I want to see. This is, and you've probably heard me say, this is the first time I've changed this particular research, traditional research, into using these chatbots. Okay. So you'll do that, right? So again, format those prompts, right? Make sure you use the week like I showed you. So then we'll end up doing week 2. And you'll do that. So now, and you'll also, by the way, this is not in your Word. Yeah, it is in your Word document. You'll also draft the script you will use to record your presentation. And this is where you basically are just writing what you would say to somebody from doing this research, right? And then you will create a table of contents. So let me show you how to do that. So if you've formatted your headings correctly, okay, using, like I said, heading 1, and you can see here, right, heading 1, and you can see that these are outlined. They even show the page numbers, which is awesome. And the reason that's happened is because here are the prompts, and these are in heading 2. Okay, here's my next prompt, right? Do I have 2 prompts in there? Yeah, I did, because my next one was what is authentication. Okay, and then I added another prompt called actually, I could call it week 1. That'll be okay. I'm flexible here because you are organizing these things into headings so that in the table of contents I can find them. But if you want to put script draft, so this is, again, where you write your script. And again, you write it, right? I know you could have chat do it, but you do it because this is where you're almost practicing. As a matter of fact, I do suggest you actually practice here. And could you go ahead and create it? Sure, you absolutely could. Okay, just know next week, right, you're going to share it with the class. So the more you work on this, right, and by the way, these can also become things that you would share with possible employers for how well you understand topics. Now, don't let that freak you out, right? But just know that the more you learn, the more articulate you become, the more you can just kind of, understand what these things are. The better you can articulate, the better you're going to interview. That just is the way it is. Again, part of my goal here. Okay, so let me show you this. Okay, let's go back here. What I didn't have on my table of contents was this, if you notice. Let's go back up. Okay, so I could go back up here, and here's my table of contents that I created. Now, how did I create it? Is I just went, matter of fact, I could just delete it. Let me just delete it and actually just show you what I did. Okay, So I'm going to actually also just delete some of the additional space for whatever reason that got created here. So to create that table of contents, looks like there might be some special characters in there. Oh, let's not do that. There we go. Undo. Okay. So all I'd have to do here is I would give a return, and I would use my up arrow to put my insertion point above my first heading. And then I would go insert, and I'd go insert index and tables, which, by the way, if it's not, again, I'm using Mac Word, but it's very similar to regular Word. So if you're not sure where it's at, go in and use that search feature. But in this case, I'm going to do a table of contents. And I happen to like this one, but if you want some of these other ones, you can check them out, right? The important thing is not which one you choose. I'll let you choose which one you like. Show level, right? So I would want to see more like we probably go about 3 deep because each one would be a heading one, but tab leader, I could use something else, right? I could play with this if I wanted. Hyperlink insertion, yeah, it does for each page. Any options here? Okay, cool, right? So you can kind of play around with this. But as soon as you do that, and I'm going to say replace, yep, replace, and that's all it did. Now, this actually now included that script draft that wasn't there. So now let me show you, and because you could modify this as you go through. Like if I was to do, right, let's say I was to do this. Let's say I was to do what I had said before. What was the other prompt that I just did? Yeah. Right, so I could use this as a prompt, which, by the way, I'd want to probably keep text only and get rid of the user. I'm not sure why that came up. I'd do a capital here. And here what I would do, right, because these are heading 2s. Cool. So once I've added it, and again, copied in my content, I'm not going to show you that because I've already shown you that, but if I wanted to now include that in here, I could just come up here, right click, and say update field, and then I'm going to say update entire table, or I could just do pages numbers only. Good. And then I have that, and now that I look at it, I think I do want to take off the week one because this is nicely organized, right? So again, right? Oh, actually here. This is clickable. That's the other cool thing about this is you can just click. And I'm like, you know what? Script, right? Script draft. And again, if I wanted to go back, I could update the field. I'm going to do the entire table. And that looks much better. And then when I get to doing week 2, because remember, the key is that's a heading 1, that's a heading 2. Okay, so let's go back here. Right, so I've gone mostly over here, which is your Word document. Do create a PowerPoint. Now I'm going to call this from here on out a presentation document because you can create whichever one, PowerPoint or Google Slides. Right, and at least 2 slides for the presentation that you will record next week. Now I'll go over how to record in the presentation. You already have had the introduction and recorded, but this will be a little bit different in what we'll do going forward. So you'll end up having 2 documents here, okay, that you'll upload. So I did this the other week, but I'm going to do it again. I'm going to get out of here. I called this research. Doesn't matter what you call it. I'm going to go ahead and save it. I'm going to get out. And now I'm in my files. I'm going to go to my 48, right? That's the video. I'm going to upload files, and there's my research. Cool, right? Now, in addition to my research, I will also have a PowerPoint. I haven't shown that here, but that is the idea, right? Okay, so I've uploaded that, and now remember what I showed you before, right? Is I can right here, just to make sure I have done it correctly. I can just open. There's a couple ways I could do this. Let me just come back over here and show you. I'm not sure why I didn't go back, but okay. All right. I could just copy this link here. That would give me a link to the folder, right? Just to do that. And the other way I could get it is to go back in here and grab that again, but it's just another easier way to do this. So I'd go here and then paste it. Let's see if it gives me the folder. Oh, I should not have to sign in. Oh, that's because of the auth, right? So that's actually good to know. Hold on. I'm going to check this out. So I should have. So what's great to know about that is that link actually includes authentication, some tokens, not directly, but kind of indirectly. So what I'd want to do if I hadn't saved, and that's probably a good reason to save the link to the folder itself, is I could come over here, right? And in my case, I had link 1, right? And that was to anyone to view. I could just hit copy here. Now remember why I'm doing this, right? Why am I doing that and not here? Let me get out of here. Oh, okay. I'll open the incognito again. Okay, now that I have that, should not make me sign in. Good, and it doesn't. So now, right? So what I did there is I made a little mistake, but I walked you through how I fixed it, because that may be something you run into as well. Remember, why I'm using incognito is to make sure the files are shared correctly. And in this case, I'm going to click Research Doc, and this will be the first link that I share. I'm going to copy that, right? Come over to Canvas, right? In Canvas, you're sharing a URL, okay? Let's see, if I do student view right now, what will happen is because this class is in sequence, it'll make me go through all of it, and I just haven't done that, so I'm going to leave that for a minute. But inside of any kind of, let me pause for just a second. Okay, so mine will look a little different, but it's the same idea, is that you'll submit a URL. But in this case, you're going to submit 2 URLs, okay? You'll submit one for the Word document that I showed you just how to get, and then you'll get another URL for your PowerPoint or your Google slide, or your Google Slides, okay? And there's a place in the submission to submit the URL, and then there's a comment. So you can either put both links on the comment, or you can use the submission URL and then paste the other one. I don't really care. As long as I get both, that's the way I'll grade it. Okay, so there at the end it got a little clunky, but you know, that's the kind of stuff that sometimes I like to leave in, because you just never know if students run into stuff like that, how they troubleshoot through it. And if that's helpful, if not, please reach out. Discord is a great way to get help. Reach out to me. I'm happy to help students walk through any of this or just have a conversation. All right, hope this helps. Talk to you later.